Everything that mattered was within a 5 block radius. My grandparents and cousins, the church on the corner where we were not quite regulars at Sunday school, the gas station where my mom sometimes sent me to pick up a pack of cigarettes, and the liquor store, which also sold Wonder Bread, penny candy, and gallons of milk. On hot summer nights, Craig and I dozed off to the sound of cheers from the adult league. Softball games are going on at the nearby public park, where by day we climbed on a playground jungle gym and played tag with all the other kids. Craig and I are not quite 2 years apart in age. He's got my dad's soft eyes and optimistic spirit, my mom's sense of calm. The two of us have always been tight in apart thanks to a constant and natural loyalty he seemed to feel for his baby sister right from the start. There's an there's an early family photograph of the four of us sitting on a couch, my mom smiling as she holds me on her lap, my dad appearing serious and proud with Craig perched on his. We're dressed for church or maybe a wedding. I'm about 8 months old, a pudge-faced, no-nonsense baby in diapers and an iron white dress looking ready to slide out of my mom's clutches, staring down the camera as if I might eat it. Next to me is Craig, gentlemanly in a little bow tie and suit jacket bearing an earnest expression. He's 2 years old and I am already the portrait of brotherly watchfulness and responsibility, his arm extended toward mine, his fingers wrapped protectively around my fat wrist. At the time the photo was taken, we were living across the hall from my dad's parents in Parkway Gardens, an affordable housing project on the south side made up of modern apart buildings. It had been built in the 1950s and was meant to ease a post-World War II housing shortage for black working class families. Later, it would deteriorate under the grind of poverty and gang violence, becoming one of the city's more dangerous places to live. Long before this, though, when I was still a toddler, my parents, who had met as teenagers and married in their mid-twenties, accepted an offer to move a few miles south to Robbie's and Terry's place in a nicer neighborhood on Euclid Avenue. We were two households living under one not very big roof. Judging from the layout, the second floor space had probably been meant for me or one or two people, but four of us found a way to fit inside. My parents slept in a lone bedroom, while Craig and I shared a bigger area that I assume was intended to be the living room. Later, as we grew, my grandfather, Pernell Shields, my mom's dad, who was an enthusiastic, if not deeply skilled carpenter, brought brought over some cheap wooden paneling and built a makeshift partition to divide the room into two semi-private spaces. He added a plastic accordion door to each space and created a little common play area in front where we could keep our toys and books. I loved my room. It was just big enough for a twin bed and a narrow desk. I kept all my stuffed animals on a bed, painstakingly tucking them around my head each night as a form of comfort. On his side of the wall, Craig lived with his own bed pushed up against the paneling parallel to mine. The partition between us was so flimsy that we could talk as we lay in bed at night, often tossing a bold sock back and forth through the 10-inch gap between the partition and the ceiling as we did. Aunt Roby meanwhile kept her part of the house like a museum. The furniture swatched in protective plastic that felt cold and sticky on my bare legs when I dared to sit on it. Her shelves were loaded with porcelain figurines we weren't allowed to touch. I let my hand hover over a set of sweet-faced glass bottles, a delicate-looking mime and 3 tiny puppies, and then pull it back, fearing Robbie's anger when piano lessons weren't happening to first floor was deadly silent. The television was never on, the radio never played. I'm not even sure the two of them talked much down there. Robbie's husband full name was William Victor Terry, but for some reason we called him only by his last name. Terry was like a shadow, a distinguished looking man who wore 3-piece suits every day of the week and pretty much never said a word.